Hello, comics. Welcome to episode 79 of the Comic Book Conservators, the greatest comic book conservation live show on the planet. We got a great show for you, and we're kicking it off right now. Welcome.
Hey, everybody.
How are you?
We're back.
We're back.
Hey.
The original crew here in the house.
What episode number is this? I missed the
79 if I'm counting
79,
correctly.
yeah, we're getting close.
Dang. Just a bunch of Sundays put together talking about comics. That's crazy. We're already episode.
Yeah, we've been doing this for a bit now. It's awesome.
How have you guys been?
Good. Just working on projects. Trying to recover from whatever this cough I've been having since last week and the week before that, but it's getting better.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
You want to be going into the holidays healthy, ideally. It's a bad time of year to be already battling something because traveling, you're out, you're exposed to stuff, weather's cold. It's not great.
No, we should avoid getting sick in January when everyone else will after the holiday travel. So getting it early.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm getting ready to, I feel fine now. I'm getting ready to call back in to go to work, but yeah, I'm going to go jump into it right in the middle of Thanksgiving travel. So it's just like, ugh. All you passengers, stay home.
It's already started. My daughter had some travel drama yesterday. She made it. She made it on the same calendar day, if not very late and with a bunch of setbacks. But hey, that's successful travel these days.
Yeah,
especially after everything going on. Yes, sir.
I like your banner, and also,
you like that?
I mean, aside from you saying work resuming, like obviously you're not working right now, so yeah, it must be nice to be home and surrounded by all your comics.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I feel better now, but boy, I was really under the weather for a while, and working on the books was just, you gotta be focused with what you're doing, especially the books you're working on. Yeah. It's just like you don't have the energy, your focus just isn't there, so you just gotta make the conscious effort to say no, and that's what I did. So I didn't touch comics. I got this one I'm working on right now. You guys saw it. I cracked it out of the slab, but recognize that one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it cleaned up really nice.
Give you solo layout here.
Oh yeah. So this is just cover wrap right now, but it's got this
oh wow.
The stain. You guys saw it in person.
So much better.
It looks
a lot better. It's not water though. It's something more nefarious, as I like to call it. But the cover cleaned up very nicely.
Sure did.
I did a bunch of tear seals on the interior stuff. I'm actually at the point where I'm getting ready to put it back together.
So what did you just give it just the standard wash? Or did you use
standard wash?
Yeah.
Just the normal surfactant, but that usually takes any water stain out. But the this is, I don't know what this is. It got into the ink because you look on the interior cover, whatever it is, it stained the inside pretty good.
Oh yeah.
So that it's just not coming out. The stuff you see around the staple points, that's leaf cast. So a little bit slight color change.
From the back cover, though, I feel like I remember seeing the tide line running like the whole vertical length.
Yeah,
so it does look.
It is. It's still there. Let me move a little closer. You can see it's definitely lighter than it was.
It's definitely lighter. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they're still gonna ding it for being a water stain.
Yeah.
Can't avoid that, but it's put back together. It had a bad spine roll in it. So it's going to go back together pretty good. I've been doing a bunch of leaf casting. So you guys have seen some of it off camera here. Shared it with you. Some of it came up pretty good. I was pretty happy with it.
I thought so.
So
Awesome.
Heck yeah.
Dr.
Phil,
Paul.
you've got news.
He's pregnant.
I'm pregnant. I'm pregnant, everybody.
It's Phil's birthday today, everybody. Say happy
Oh,
birthday,
no.
Phil.
Happy birthday! Yeah,
Hey, oh, shucks.
we
Thanks,
could have
thanks.
done. We could have done a whole birthday episode, but you obviously have the new studio name.
Oh yeah.
Share it with everybody again for those that maybe
Yeah,
weren't
so-
with us last week.
It is official under the businesses licenses of New York State. So Phantom Comic Studios LLC is a business entity. So I have a few loose ends to still have to have the website. Like I've owned the domain for about a year now, so I already knew this was coming.
Yeah.
But I just have to have it officially transfer over in like maybe another 30 minutes to get that done. And I've already had my Instagram and the submission invoices and forms already have the new logo on it and everything. So
That's great.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well,
Long
I
time.
don't know if I'm talking out of turn here, but you're now doing leaf casting.
Yeah, officially. So I need to revise my website because I have a few
New
books
services.
I'd like to add on there. But yeah, I do have a big I have one big book that's kind of breaking the hey, I'm officially offering this out as a service, and then I'll have several more bigger ones coming.
so
right after. I really
great.
am,
So we'll just do this as a teaser. There's a big book that you're going to show folks soon. And as an example of one of the new service you're offering, which is leaf casting.
correct. Yeah.
We're looking forward to that. We're looking forward to that. Awesome.
Thanks. I was hoping to maybe even have that book today to show, but we're gonna have to save that for maybe next week or the week after. But I'm not one to say, hey, tune in because you don't want to miss out on this book. But
I am.
I'll just say this: even people, even people. So when I've had a lot of people over in my office to drop off, pick up books, I've noticed this is just a trend. You know, there is very little overlap between the people that collect the art and the books. So people that come in and collect the books will see my books and comment, or see books and comment, but nothing about the art. They don't understand. I can have a $100,000 cover on the table. They just totally, they have no idea. It's not.
No.
And likewise with the art and the books. This book is such a big book. Every one of the people that collect art too are like, "Oh, holy crap!" Like it's I'm privileged to
Crossover
do
appeal.
that.
All right. Well, we're looking forward to that. I will say tune in next week.
Yeah, tune in next week. Hey.
Awesome. All right. Let's say thank you, everybody.
We got a lot of people in there.
Salesboy Comics, Collecting Chaos, Don Carter, Vulu, and You Pluck My Last Nerve. They are collectively sponsoring this episode. If you're watching it live, ad-free. Thanks to those gentlemen. I'm not sure if they're all gentlemen. But
Oh yeah,
Fine
we
people.
I'm not
are gender neutral on our channels.
Here we go. Thanks to those fine folk. And while we're at it, let's say hi to Mike, Collecting Chaos, Don Carter, Salesboy Comics, The Space Baby. Welcome to the channel. Mike says, so sad. Torch and Toro's creator was so mad at Stan Lee for swiping the torch for the FF. Carl Berger cut up all his Golden Age art and threw it out in a trash can. Wow, according to his daughter. That's wild. The Professor Peter Olachi's here. Dem Ones is here. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the channel. You Pluck My Last Nerve. Gorilla Productions 73. Is this Gorilla Monkey 3K with a new name?
Could be.
Welcome, Neuro Comics. Watch out for H3N2. This is from the Professor, who says, "Watch out for the new flu virus." Collecting Chaos says, "I picked up an X-Men 2 that's coverless and missing a page. Doesn't affect the story. It's going on eBay. Go check it out if you're looking for one of those." Salesboy says, "Larry, we need you to help fly us." Mike says, "Beware the gremlins on your wings." Not the wings that go on your chest, but
No, there's a image circulating out on I think it was on Instagram. There's a picture of one of the gremlins from the movie Gremlins sitting on the wing of an airplane, like the old
The
what was it? Twilight
Twilight
Zone.
Zone episode. Yeah,
Yeah, Twilight Zone. It's just a gremlin out there on the wing.
yeah.
It looks pretty good. Somebody
Mike
having fun
says,
with AI.
"Hey, true believers, leave us a thumbs up if you enjoyed the show. Thanks, we appreciate
Yeah.
it." Collecting Chaos says his wife shares a birthday with Phil.
Happy
Very
birthday,
nice.
Mrs. Collecting Chaos. Hey.
Well, Kilted Corgi's here. Welcome back. Sales Boy hit us with the super chat. Said
Hey.
happy birthday, Phil, and as always, keep it moist. Rick Gomez is
Do my
here. Also
best.
says happy birthday. The Space Boy says, not sure what this is in referring to. Mask One.
Oh, the big book I mentioned.
Ah, yes.
It is not to under
We don't
Mask,
wanna-
but it's much bigger than Mask One.
We don't want to spoil it, but yeah, tune in. And maybe it is Mask One, I guess, but
It's a number one. We'll say that.
it is a number one. Let's see. If I missed you, holler at me.
Well, Ben Stewart.
Lenny Cern is here. Welcome back, Lenny. Good to see you again. Ben Stewart says evening and happy birthday. Wow, we got a lively crew already. We got a great show for you. Unless you guys want to say anything else, let's jump into this A segment.
Let's jump into it. Yeah.
I had a lot of fun with this book. I have a bit of a teaser in the title of the of the show tonight, but I think this book illustrates opportunity. I'll just say that as a lead-in. But wow, what a cover! These Marvel Mystery Comics. We've talked about this before, but man, the buyers of Marvel Mystery Comics are rabid, and they pay up. They have deep pockets.
Guilty as charged.
The cover right after this one, I mean, there's many. So Marvel Mystery Comics, this is where it all started for Timely. This is where we get the first Submariner, the first Human Torch, the Vision, the Angel. They are mainstays in this title. It's an anthology title. It's actually a mix of superhero with regular wartime stories with some sci-fi built in and a little bit of like boy adventure type stuff too, kind of Hardy Boys-esque type stuff. Good mix in an anthology in the pre-war, and then really hit its stride in the war era. Again, mainstays of this title all the way through are the Human Torch, the Submariner, and the Vision and the Angel. They're there from issue 1, and I think more or less, well, maybe not all the way to the end, because weird stuff happens at the end of the Golden Age, but certainly in this period through the war. And the other big thing about this title is Alex Schomburg covers.
Yep.
So this is another one. There's a lot of great fighting Nazis, fighting the Japanese, fighting, the Axis. And they're these hyper detailed covers that collectors just go nuts for, ourselves included, right? I mean, we all are fans of Alex Schomburg. You can buy his work on a discount over in the Neater publications. He was doing similar themed stuff. And many of us do, because
it's more affordable, yeah.
Because these Marvel books, like I said, they are expensive books. The one right after this one is a bit more dramatic than this one. 44.
46 is crazy too.
Yeah, it gets 44 in particular gets the CGC classic cover denotation, and it sells for 4, 5, 6 times more money than this one does. And none of them are cheap, as I said, but
I'm trying to find mine.
This book, just if I can make just one quick,
yeah,
this is a very nostalgic book when I see it, because when I first started doing work on books, I
Mhm.
think if just before I did any conservation and submitted books, I got a copy of this that was restored. It was I think it was a 4 or 5 restored for a little bit of glue on the cover. And it was my first like restoration, removal, and resub and see how it comes back. And it went, I think, from a 4 or 5 restored to a 4.0 universal, which was like, hey, like
Ooh,
kind of
that's
best case
huge,
scenario,
man.
what's possible. And it was just, at the time though that I got it, it was a little bit more affordable now, or even like you said, the Nidors are so much more accessible than these entry-level copies of even it's funny to call this a lesser one than the ones around it, but it is crazy how this is a lesser cover versus some of the ones around this issue. The entry-level copies are still quite a bit of money. So
Yeah. And
but I
this
love this cover. I love this cover.
it is. It's a stunner. We'll take a close-up look at it a bit later. But even those Neaters are starting to get, people that know are chasing those now too. And some of those are actually getting difficult. The prices on those are definitely going up from when I started buying them.
Yep.
So this particular issue, 43 copies in Universal for issue number 43, which hit the newsstands in March of 1943 with a cover date of May 1943. Lots of 43s there. Median grades of 4.0, 46 all told. So this is interesting to me. Just the 3 restored and 1 conserved. Now, our book is actually showing up here in the restored part of the census, and you may be wondering why we're talking about it. You may have noticed the purple label. This book was graded back in the period when conservation was a subcategory of restored. If this was to be resubbed just for a reholder, that restored population would go down to 2, and this one would show up in the conserved population. And that is the secret, I think, to acquiring some of these books. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But tough book, only 43 Universal in the census. And for that reason, 0 comps. No comps whatsoever. So our book sold in the last 2 weeks. When I say our book, obviously I mean the one we're talking about today. It's
our featured book.
It'd be great if it was my book. But our feature book, thank you, Larry. That's a great way to put it. Sold this month on Heritage. This is the last copy to sell in a public forum that I was able to find, pertinent or otherwise, in 2022, June 9th. This hammered over at Comic Connect for $3,418. And I just did a linear regression from this 6.0 to 7.0, and I rounded up just a little bit. So I estimated the fair market value of a 7.0 at $4,000. Who knows if that's light or not? I think some of these just the bidding goes like a runaway freight train, frankly. But I think it's at least worth $4,000. And as I said, literally no other data, not a single sale since this one in June of 2022 that I could key off of. So that's the best we get. It's a 4K estimate for the fair market value of a Universal 7.0. I wouldn't be shocked if it actually went for quite a bit more, but again, those are the data we have. And so before we move on, thank you for the super chat. And
yeah,
Jason wants you to stop buying those Nidors.
You know what's really great?
He's trying to catch them all for himself, like Pokemon.
Classics Illustrated. That's a title everyone should chase. High investment potential. You know, that's really what. No, I know there's part of me, Jason, too. I'm like, let's not say anything because, like, but yeah, there's enough that keep popping up, and most people, we don't have infinite budgets, so there's always something to be had at different places.
Yeah, I've been able to acquire a couple of those Neater books with some really crazy covers. looking at them today, many people find them very offensive, but they were a sign of what was happening at the times, and
Sure.
and it was happening over at Neater at least as much as it was at Timely. I feel like there is a different feel to the Timely covers versus the Neater covers.
Yeah.
Obviously, even with the same artist, you can just have different editorial direction. You can have different, art direction, and the Neater covers tend to be not quite as busy, and they tend to, in my estimation, they play a little bit more on those jingoistic themes than the Marvel Mystery covers. The Marvel Mystery covers feel a little bit more like Where's Waldo with all the crazy detail packed into them.
Especially
right?
the Schomburg covers.
Yeah. So there's a little bit different feel to them. I do think the Marvel Mystery covers have a little bit more mass appeal. And obviously also Timely went on to become Marvel Comics, which went on to bring us, Claremont's X-Men and all of the Marvel zombies. And so I think there's always going to be more appetite for the Marvel books just because of the legacy that continued. And the Neater books, obviously, those companies went out of business. All of those characters fell into the public domain. Some of them are still being published, but they don't have the following that the Marvel comics have today. I completely agree. Collecting Chaos, legitimately rare. Under 50 is, for a desirable book, is legitimately rare for.
I always wondered if it was possible that when Schomburg drew covers and he signed them, like a lot of his airbrush ones that he signed Zila, which is Alex backwards.
Right.
And for a long time, people didn't even realize it until they said, wait a minute, this looks like this. And we know this is a Schomburg. So wait, I wonder if for the New York ones, in the same way where he was like, well, I don't want them to know I'm playing both sides. So maybe he was like, I'll scale back some of my details so it's not so obviously the jam-packed ones that I do. But
anything's possible. But I think the wartime covers are signed Schomburg, right?
Oh yeah,
they are. They are.
So I think it was probably publicly known. But I always just thought it was more of like a genre shift, and it's always astonished me the range of this artist in terms of, if you look at some of those covers Phil's talking about, those painted sci-fi covers in the later Neater books,
crazy ahead of its time.
I mean, crazy ahead, but also they don't look anything like this cover at all.
And
right?
they're Schomburgs.
Yeah, you would swear it's a different artist. To have that kind of range is incredible.
I think they refer to him as an airbrush cover by Schomburg.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah,
it's awesome. Here is the CGC cert number, the graders notes for our book. So again, note purple label, but if you look along the top, it says CGC conserved. Well, so we look at the grade date. In 2015, August 3rd was the official date here of the grading. And that is inside the window after conservation was separately denoted by CGC, but before it got the gray label. So it got this purple stripe and white pages. Phenomenal. Conservation includes spine split, sealed to cover, cover reinforced, staple replaced. I wonder if it says staple because it's a single staple book, or if it just means one of the staples was replaced.
It's probably a single staple.
It is. Yeah.
Left top front cover chip out. So these are the graders notes why it's a 7. Left center front cover small bend. Bottom front cover small light indent. Bottom spine tanning. This seems like it was conserved, not accidentally, as we sometimes see books fall into conserve, but purposefully, right? I mean, spine splits were sealed, the cover was reinforced. These are traditional conservation activities. The book presents beautifully. The Conservator took a light touch approach. They left this penciled S on the Marvel Mystery Comics in the big M as part of the provenance of the book. You see Toro and the Torch, and here you get to see some of this detail of a bridge that was laden with Axis tanks and trucks being destroyed by our heroes, while the Allied, possibly it looks like Allied warships, and then of course airplanes are helping out. And you see there on the bottom right in the mountain, Schomburg's signature. Just incredible in terms of the detail here. Nobody else was doing it quite like Alex Schomburg in the Golden Age. And it's called the Golden Age for a reason, people.
This was, and you mentioned too the pencil being left on. It's just crazy how, like, I mean, it could have been done just up until this time, but even really in 2015, pressing was not as prevalent as it is now. So there was more of a, like, it was such a more of a pure mindset of fix the book, but like, you don't have to do this to maximize the technical grade. It's done. It looks good. I mean, you can't tell
it's great. Yeah.
a slight bend, you know, like the things that are there are so superficial, you know, it's it's kind of,
Absolutely.
It's a callback to the pre-CGC days, which I love talking with Matt at CGC, but man, sometimes I'm like, it would be really nice if people just had books for all. We know that's not possible when they're this expensive, but hey, anyway, I digress. I'll let you continue.
Jason points out Schomburg's pulps and horoscope books are also really different. I did not know that. That's amazing. If you want to see a whole lot of tanks, Jason, go check out issue 44. That's even more tanks somehow than this book. Back cover looks amazing, frankly.
More tanks.
Yeah. Is it? It's sort of amphibious assault.
Amphibious vehicle.
Baby Ruth.
Still going.
Yeah, I mean, when you're storming the beaches of Normandy, you got to have a Baby Ruth for energy. Right?
Rich and dexterous, exactly.
Dexterous.
Oh, no, I don't know if that's this one or if that's the other candy bar, but cool. Too. All around cool book.
Absolutely. Amazing book. I get it. I get it. Because the covers make these books for me. I find them difficult to read. I've said this before, frankly, but the covers, I get it. And I get, too, the continuity of the characters and the universe. I get the appeal to that. That appeals to me as well.
I like seeing a cover like this versus the one that's like the bare foot that says footage. And I'm like, I don't want to look at this right now. You know, like the front cover's so cool and the bottom is like, do you have like a foot fungus? And you're like, what is that?
Right. Yeah, this is much better. Baby Ruth. Well, there it is, folks. So as a reminder, I estimated the value of a Universal 7.0 at least 4K. And this one hammered this month at Heritage. As I said, white pages, Conserve 7.0 in the purple early conservation label. Who wants to start throwing out guesses for this one? Let's get some audience participation.
2,000.
2K. Captain Larry is going to put a pin on the board at 2K. You guys can go 1999 and you can go 2001. You can mess with them here. Collecting Chaos says 34,000. I mean,
good guess. Very, very
anything's possible, KK. Anything is possible.
Yeah.
2,600 is where the professor is putting a flag in the ground. Jason's at 3,201. Collecting Chaos is clarifying, meant to be 3,400. That sounds more reasonable. Sales Boy's at $22.50. I'm guessing that's his high bid, but like my last nerve is maybe doing Collecting Chaos's game with 25K here. Maybe that's supposed to be 2,500. New Row is at 1,875. at JCP, welcome to the channel. Welcome to the show, says 5K. Sales does say $2,000, $250. We got Don Carter at 3,800. Rocky Top Comics says 2,900. Welcome to the show. Ben Stewart says 2,650. Pluck My Last Nerve is at 2,500. Phil, you want to take a guess?
I feel like it might have even been last week or the week before. I'm with Ben. That was my 2,650 was my guess.
2,650. All right. Well, I have noted a pattern with these Purple Label books. 3K from Gorilla Monkey, from Gorilla Production 73, formerly known as Gorilla Monkey 3K.
Mm-hmm.
Look at this.
Okay.
I mean, literally the next issue in a 7.0 Universal sold for $14,000 in the last year.
I would buy
it. Is a slightly more desirable cover, but frankly, it's not that much different in terms of the quality of the cover, in my opinion, at least. This is bananas to me. This is why I wanted to feature it. Bananas.
The 6.0 that you showed sold, what, 4 or 5 years ago?
In 2023.
23. Okay, so 3 years ago, and that went for
3,400.
3,400. Okay.
This is bananas.
My mind goes to like, okay, it's a little bit ago. It's not like it's, last week or anything. 3 years, especially in the market today where books sell for, when a Superman 190 goes for almost $10 million, right?
It depends. Did you have to pay tax? If you had to pay tax, it was 10 million.
Yeah, but I'm thinking here, like,
if you're a collector in New York, isn't it? What is the tax? It's over
8.875. Yeah.
Okay. If you are a personal collector, if you don't have like an estate buying that or some kind of company, if you are a personal collector and you bought that from the state of New York, you paid over 10 million for that book, right? Yeah. I just think this is, it's almost like a secret that I don't want to share with everybody, but we're always full disclosure here. Look for these Purple Label books, people.
Yeah,
this to me was just, it flew under the radar because of the Purple Label. People assumed that this had massive restoration. It did not. It had tasteful conservation. Resub this, get it in a gray label, put it back out there. It sells for at least $3,000. Come on. At least.
I don't think you're wrong, but I was just going to say, from the perspective of someone that wanted to have this removed and you get Universal, it probably would top out at a 4, right? So a 4.0 Universal, though, if
that's not the way to go with this book. I would. Yeah.
No, I don't think it is. I think it makes more sense to keep it this way from an equity perspective.
But actually, but Phil, even a 4.0 Universal of this is worth more than $1,400.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. No,
it's a $2,000 book.
Right. No, your point stands that this label scared people away. I think you're totally right.
Absolutely. See, I personally would have bid probably up to $2,000 of heritage for this,
and still felt like you were getting a steal.
And I still felt I would feel very good about getting it.
Yeah, as Ben points out, the real bad no-nos aren't here. There's no trimming, no color touch.
I mean,
this is very from as far as we can see through the slab and through the grader's notes. This is very well done, light touch conservation, the kind of conservation we advocate in the book. If you don't have it, go pick it up. Available on Amazon, and the kind that in the future is going to be lauded, even if these days sometimes you can get them at a discount to Universal. And I don't know. Again, I think this is a secret that I know I look for these books, but I don't catch them all because these catalogs are thick and there's a lot going on, especially certain times of year, like this year-end period where there's a lot of auctions. it's tough to get through all the books in a catalog, and this would have been easy to miss, easy to go over really quickly. I mean,
Well, this would have been in the back of the catalog too, in the small pictures. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I'm sure this is an auction. This was the November 2nd auction. This is an auction that we all were watching books in. I know Larry and I were. We were bidding on books. We didn't see this.
I would have been on
this
this.
book. I know I've seen this specific copy before.
Yeah.
I don't know where I saw it, but can I just say one extra point too, just from someone that does this regularly, right? Re-looking again, I could say, because I always try to think like, okay, what's real worst case? And I actually think that technically speaking, worst case on this wouldn't even be the 4.0. It could, let's say it could be a 2 or a 2.5, because if it just said tear seal and reinforcement, okay, that's one thing. But if you have spine split seal, it's an unknown quantity how much of this spine is split. I would argue it's unlikely it's the entire spine, but technically speaking, you could look and see, damn, there's reinforcement over the staple and 2/3 of the spine is split, and they don't delineate between how much of that is. So then maybe best case you're looking at, if you were to go for the universal, you could do that. But to Silsboy's point too, based on the grader's notes, technically speaking, you probably have a chance to get this up to a 7.5, maybe. An 8 might be ambitious, but really those look really sharp. The bottom and top corners are really sharp. I could see that too. So there's risk here, but there is also on the other end more of a chance for some extra equity. So
Phil, because of the price compression at the bottom of the grading scale, even a 2.5 of this is worth 1,400 universal. Frank. That's what these books go for. I mean,
you won't lose.
Larry was just talking about it. Like,
you won't lose.
Entry level copies of these books are $2,000. That's what's happening here. And I think Salesboy's right on here. I think the way to maximize value of this, crack it, press out those potentially pressable defects mentioned in the grader's notes. Maybe even do a little bit more conservation here if there's conservation to do. Resub this, get the gray label, whether it's a 7, 7.5, 8.0, whether you get a bump or not. This book sells for upwards of 2,500 or more in the gray label, in my opinion, all day long. So for me, the takeaway is look for these purple label conserved books and don't tell your friends about them. Keep them under the radar, bid on them quietly, and you can take home some amazing books for not that much money. 36% of the estimated. And again, remember, people, this to me was a conservative estimate. Yeah. I mean, I could just easily see this book. Oh, I'm sorry about the label here. I forgot to change it, folks. But this is my estimate for 4K. I could easily see this book in Universal 7.0 selling for $6 or $8 grand. I don't think that would be insane at all. So this was 36% of what I thought was already a very conservative estimate for the value of Universal. So I'm going to get this slide off the screen.
Yeah, it did say staple replaced.
Yes. Well, it doesn't say staples. It says staple because I think it's a single staple book.
That's a single staple book.
Yeah. Gorilla Productions. It's going to take me a moment to get used to that. Gorilla Productions 73. Thank you so much for the super chat. Hopefully you won't mind if I occasionally call you Gorilla Monkey 3K. One of my favorite names to call out during our show because it's so much fun. So, what'd you guys think of that? I hope you had fun.
That was cool.
I did a little bit of research on the internals just to see if there was anything else fun to talk about in the story, and there wasn't much that I thought was that. Again, to my point, these are all about the covers, man. But
you're biased.
But man, what a cover!
Yeah, I actively chase those Schomburg covers whenever I see them. I love those.
What a cover! Yeah. Well, to your point, whether or not I'm biased, let's just.
You're a DC guy. Come on, just
explore that for a moment. in my beloved All-Star Golden Age run, when you look at those covers, there's some cool covers, but they're not at the same level of what Schaumburg was doing over at Marvel Mystery Comics. You know, you've got
his
I
covers.
don't know,
are
maybe you know,
they're busy.
even no, Purdy was doing some good cover. I mean, good covers, but nothing at that level.
Yeah, but Schaumburg's covers are so busy. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
you could just look at a corner of one section of the artwork, and there's something going on there.
And they were edgy, and
They're edgy. They're
know,
very edgy.
DC wasn't doing anything like that, right? I mean, you've got some super well-known covers, All-Star 3, All-Star 8, of course, but they were just not at that same level. I guess the other one that's known almost exclusively for its cover is All-Star 33, that great Solomon Grundy, one of only 2 Solomon Grundy covers in the Golden Age. And so that maybe you would say is the best cover in the All-Star run, just based on the cover alone. And I agree with you, Larry. It's not at the level that the Schaumburg work is at. Even his sort of like filler covers for Marvel Mystery Comics are a cut above. So, and we live in a cover-centric world now with all these big books being slabbed.
We really do.
So
Yeah, well, people are looking at the art and the artist. The story doesn't necessarily have to be riveting, but the artwork, especially the cover art, is that's what people are looking at now.
It is, and it's also what is most emblematic of where the country was at in World War II. So I'm not saying it's not worth it. It's just I have a tough time chasing them. Oh, this is very kind. Gorilla Monkey 3K says, please continue to call me Gorilla Monkey 3K. That'll be fun and easy.
There you go.
So give us a thumbs up, like the show, follow my channel, follow Larry's channel, go check out Phil's new website.
On Instagram. Hey.
And check out, he's always posting his work on Instagram, the before and afters.
He's got some cool work.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
well, send him some work. Even better, send
him work. Yeah, I refer people contact me looking for work. I send them to Phil.
I do the same. Often. Although sometimes I see a book that I just think is right up somebody else's alley. I send books. I refer work to several people, but plenty to
I do as well too, because you
do the same, right?
Yeah.
Even in the business, you sometimes just say, there's somebody better suited for this job than me.
Well, yeah,
that's the mark of somebody who's just mature and confident in their work, frankly.
Yeah.
I also, just being one person, that was one of my hardest things to do when I first started doing this was, I think Dr. Paul, as you said at one point in the past, it's like you got to know your worth. And it is, I'm in New York City, I have overhead, but I also provide a good service. And I have no problem telling people, hey, this is the amount if the numbers make sense on your end. But also, if I'm maybe not your guy, I got 3 or 4 guys I can easily refer to you that can offer better rates on books that, deserve work, but that I only have so much time to do it. So I have to be a little more competitive on my pricing. And there's more people than I can even recommend, but I have my short list too that I do too. So it is there's more books that need help, and I'm in it for the good of the books too. It's my job, but I'm a collector first and foremost. That's why I like doing this podcast with you guys. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Great, mature approach. That's why we love you. That's why we got you on the show. So, Larry.
Yeah.
You're up, man.
Yeah. I'm excited to see you, Larry.
Larry hasn't done a segment in a long time. Sorry.
Here's a great one, though.
Yeah, this one was it was pretty rough. I mean, this was 1942 Captain Marvel. It's showing some ugly. So it's dirty, it's got foxing. The spine roll is very, very obvious. The center wrap was fully detached, and not only was it detached, it was crunched. So but the book was complete. So,
makes it a great candidate, right? It's complete. Restoration.
The colors are great too.
Oh, the colors are great on it. I mean, there's Captain Marvel smashing the Japs, and
Since we're talking about complete, can I just rant again about one of my big pet peeves on eBay is when
Absolutely.
people list a book with no cover,
Oh,
and
I
the
love-
title says coverless, complete, Marvel number 14.
Oh,
Literally, by definition, it's not complete, people. I really wanted to click report every time I see
yeah,
that.
that's contradictory.
Of course, because it's a waste of my time. But man, oh man, it's not complete. It's incomplete. It doesn't have a cover.
I think not always,
And
but
rant.
sometimes the intentions are good sometimes, but there's certainly some sellers that are just like hoping someone just isn't paying attention, and it's like, hey,
Especially when you put a photocopy of a cover over
Oh,
it,
that drives me insane.
which
No, it's true.
most of these
it's
sellers are doing. And it's not till you get to the fine print that you see that it was a photocopy.
Oh, I actually found one that was complete, missing center wrap.
Oh yeah, same, exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
Missing the Sandman story, complete missing Sandman story. Yeah, sure.
I think it's less forgivable when like a dealer sells a book as being complete, and then you find out that it isn't than someone on eBay.
Sure.
But it is still it's come
Again,
on, what is this?
listen,
Yeah.
I'm not wasting my time. I'm hoping that my rant is somewhat amusing to some of you.
maybe one person that does that's like, yeah, I guess I can just say
I highly
and that's sufficient. You're probably right.
Not holding my breath.
Wishful thinking, fair enough.
But this one here looks like an amazing candidate because
Oh, it was
trying to conserve books.
I picked it up because
you can do something with it.
I picked it up because it was so ugly. It was like
eBay.
It was
eBay pickup there?
Yeah, this is an eBay pickup. This is my Charlie Brown Christmas tree, man. It was just
Yeah.
it was ugly. It needed love, and
does.
it just cried to be fixed.
Yeah, that's awesome. You know what else is awesome? Our chat. Check it out. Collecting Chaos. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Just like an ad I saw that said near mint except for the corner crease. You got it, man.
Yeah.
That qualified label. It's the qualified label in the eBay description.
Sounds like a very fine to me then, maybe. I mean, what are words except for just flippant things that we're using to describe whatever we feel at the moment. So.
We're going through all of them now. Gorilla Monkey 3K says complete, fresh frozen. Yeah. Genuine reproduction. That's one of my favorites. That's in the collector car community. You do genuine reproductions.
I do like the people that are counted too, being like, don't know if it's complete, didn't check, box like sold as is, and you're like, oh, sounds great. I'm gonna just bid on this then.
Yeah, so I can't guarantee it.
You are rolling the dice buying my item, is what they're saying.
Yeah. I don't think you rolled the dice on this one though. You knew
no. Yeah, I knew what I was getting into, and it cried to be fixed. I think the next slide shows the back cover.
Oh yeah. So lots of potential here.
Oh yeah. There's basically a more than an inch of miswrapped spine roll
of spine roll here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Another great back cover too, man.
Oh, it really is. Is a wonderful back cover. I mean, it was anyway. This
aircraft there.
This whole thing was just crying to be loved. So give it some love. So yeah, I fully disassembled it. I got to the inside of the cover here, and it wasn't happy. I mean, a lot of dirt. There's also a lot of foxing in there, and yeah, foxing can be removed to a point. So you do your best you can with it in treating the book, which I did, and it left, but there's corner folds. I mean, it had lived in this spine rolled condition for so long. When I did correct the spine roll, all the corrected spine was basically in the wrong part of the book. So when it came around, wrapped around, it said, "Oh, well, it's still dirty on the spine." Well, yeah, that's kind of how it lived. So not much of a choice. And folks, this book is, it's over 80 years old. I mean, it's delicate to say the least. So yeah, I did a full disassembly, wet clean on it, deacidified everything.
Yeah.
I made the conscious decision because I wanted to keep the blue label to use mending tape, which, as everybody knows, I hate tape, and I
Mhm.
really hate mending tape. But it presented it just an opportunity for a blue label. I said, yeah, we'll go ahead and give it a try. Now, let's talk about mending tape and how it
Yeah.
degrades in CGC's grading factors. You can have tape; it's considered, an additional thing for the paper, but it's acceptable for universal label up to about a 7.5. That's about where it's going to cap out at. And depending on where the tape is, if it's on the exterior of the cover, if it's on the interior pages, you're looking at a 5 to a 6. If it's on the interior of the cover, it's on hinge points, and it's on the center wrap, you're looking at a 1.8 to a 3.0 maximum, usually for tape. Now, it doesn't distinguish the cellophane tape that we're used to removing from archival mending tape, which is what I used. They treat it the exact same way, but it's
Mhm.
tape. Tape is tape to them. But you
Can I just say
can,
only one point on that?
yeah,
And,
go ahead.
and that is, in my experience, CGC sometimes will look at the archival tape and not know it's archival tape and think it was something used to seal a tear or whatever. And you could then trigger a console or a rescue removal at CGC's discretion, depending on how that person is viewing the tape. If
Yeah.
it's just regular Scotch tape, there's less question there, but with the archival stuff, sometimes it is what is it? What am I
Well,
looking at? How would you
people
feel
peel
about
off the archival tape. It could be a half inch wide, and that's a big piece of tape. I don't do that. When I do a tear seal, I'll trim it. I'll basically split it in half, even less, and so I have a ribbon, maybe an 1/8 inch, 3/16 of an inch wide at the most. And
Mhm.
we'll see that in a few slides down here. But yeah, I made the conscious decision to do that. So,
Mhm.
all right.
I'll add to this conversation in terms of playing off two of those comments. In terms of the tape that's used and how much is used. So when you see an amateur repair with cellophane tape or even later tape, it's a kid or a parent just trying to get some more life out of a comic, just trying to hold it together so they can enjoy it longer. It's always the full width of the tape, right? They're not trimming that or doing anything else. In the conservation world, when sometimes decisions are made to conserve documents with mending tape because of time constraints, budgetary constraints, etc., what is typically done in the conservation world is that mending tape is actually trimmed, and it can be trimmed in a really thin or irregular patch. And it is placed then, as inconspicuously as possible. It is sometimes difficult for CGC to tell the difference between that and a Japanese paper repair.
Yep.
And
Exactly.
that is why, to Phil's point, it will sometimes trigger a restored label. If you are going to use mending tape and you do not want the restored label, you want a conserved label, or as to Larry's point, universal here, make sure that you're cutting the tape in such a way that it is clearly taped. So as you heard Larry say, and he gave exactly the correct instruction, but I'm just going to elaborate on it. If you cut it down the center so it still looks like a piece of tape, just half as wide, and it's still straight edges, and it can't be confused with a Japanese paper repair, that's going to make sure that you don't get that purple label.
Yeah.
FYI. Ooh,
FYI.
fun.
Okay. So I wanted to talk about this one, that top photo there. This was after 30 seconds. This book, in every wrap and the cover, it immediately started shedding ink. And I mean, every single wrap. It was like 30 seconds, whoosh. Okay, here goes the ink.
Yeah.
But you got to do it to get the dirt out and everything else.
And
So
the acid, and neutralize the acids.
Yeah.
And okay, so here's ink, But does the page appear any less vibrant?
No, that's
No, right?
If
the ink is
if
so
I let it
thick.
soak 3 to 5 minutes, it would have definitely
Sure,
changed it.
sure.
But this is strictly 30 seconds. And
Yeah.
Would
it
you
was,
say
it was like,
when you're deacidifying specifically the cover in addition to the interior, and you're going for universal, are you purposefully washing the cover virtually as like a shorter duration than the interior wraps? I guess was my question.
no. I
So the
treat
same
everything
amount?
the same amount of time unless it starts shedding ink. If it's going to
Fair
shed
enough.
ink, you will know immediately. You'll see
Gotcha.
it. And as soon as I saw the color
Yeah.
change like there, because it's always that I call it urine yellow brown that comes off of it, and
Yeah.
and there's also the smell. You can smell it,
Sure.
but once the color is different than that, this is giving off clearly blue ink off of the cover. I said,
Mhm.
okay, time to stop. And it was just really quick. So I saw that, I pour it off, and I rinsed the soap solution out one more time very quickly again, then put it into the drying process.
And it's fine. And the colors are still very vibrant.
Yeah.
KK, duct tape still good for Universal? Asking for a friend here.
Yes.
Yeah, but you have to use extra duct tape.
Extra.
So the bottom picture there, that is the center wrap. It was fully detached. It was folded over.
Yeah.
I didn't get the crunch in this photo. It's down at the bottom, but once you get those, the thing is you gotta get it wet, and you can straighten everything out, and then start the reassembly process. So, but yeah, it was every
That's-
show I give at least one tip invaluable information about restoration.
That's
yeah.
That warms the heart. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we appreciate it. This is why we're here. This is why we're doing our homework.
For the love of the comics. I mean, I'm the only one that really has anything to lose by sharing secrets, but also, as Paul, you've told me in the past, it's like, look, I there's so many books that need work and good ones that like I can, it's
you don't need to
all
worry about that.
It's all good. Yep.
Yeah.
Here's a good
So-
question. Here's a little diversionary question for you.
Yeah. that's a good one.
JCP, am I the only one that has seen interwraps come out of aqueous calcium hydroxide bath even darker than before, presumably from
Could be.
ink migration?
So if the page already got wet before, then what you could be seeing is the inks bleeding into the whole surrounding area of where the sizing basically got disturbed
Well,
already. So
yeah,
you're-
the sizing's gone. The sizing is what causes the ink to be retained in the paper. And
Yeah.
once that sizing is gone, the ink it'll just start releasing.
So just tiny correction, not in the paper, but on the paper.
On the
Right?
paper. Sorry,
And
yes.
so when it's
correct.
gone, it will move into the paper, which is this
Correct.
phenomenon here. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's too much washing or repeated washes or some previous water exposure that allowed, as my colleagues have said here, sizing to be removed. These inner pages are at most what they call slack sized in the industry. And what that means is, for intents and purposes, they're not really sized. They have just enough of a compound in there to keep ink on the surface and to not act sort of like a paper towel where the ink would be, sucked
Yep,
into
that's a
through
good
capillary
analogy.
action.
Yep.
But technically speaking, if you look at the literature, newsprint is considered to be not sized paper. And yeah, we knew exactly what you meant.
If you just as a really quick, if you
But
look
we
on an
know,
interior-
sorry, just let me finish the thoughts. But we
Yeah.
know that it has some sizing because it doesn't suck ink in like blotter paper, right? So it has some sizing, but it's what is called in the industry slack sized. So that can be disturbed really easily by prior moisture exposure. And I think that's when you'll get this phenomenon, JCP.
I was just gonna say it's almost like it exists somewhere between how crappy Marvel, like early 60s Marvel inks are, where like as we joke, you can look at them the wrong way and the inks will come off. But really what we mean is just the moisture from your hands touching them can start to smear the inks on
Yeah.
the on
Oh,
the
yeah.
interior.
Oh,
And if you're
yeah,
looking at an interior page and you have like a whole area, like on that Captain Kids, if you have like that blue and the black ink, if you really take your finger and you're like, you got enough moisture in there and you really rub it on there, you'll be like, oh, I haven't taken a little bit, so that's where it's harder to do that on the cover, but the interior inks, there's just enough in there to keep it there. But if you they can very easily wash out too when you're doing, if it's already been disturbed. So
Shall we?
We shall.
All right.
All right. So we were just talking about mending tape. So
It's a perfect
this is
example.
this was split a good portion up the book. Close to a third of the book was split on this wrap. So this is how I trimmed out the mending tape. Now it does, once you put the mending tape on it and you basically start rubbing it in, it does get slightly transparent.
Yeah.
Not completely, but this is prior to being rubbed in, and I wanted to point that out. So it basically showed. I used this is about 1/8 of an inch width. I just put the tape down on the table and took the blade and I shaped it.
Split it. Yeah.
No,
Yeah. This is exactly what you should do. It's
Yeah.
obviously tape, but it's inconspicuous. You're not using more than you need to. And you're not going to get an erroneous restored label on this. I say erroneous per CGC's own rules. So JCP, it turns out there's some side chat going on.
yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
It
Actually,
was an aqueous bath and Bastine. I would say you're seeing some kind of interaction between the polar and the non-polar solvents there. And we do not recommend that. You want to do one or the other at a time and then allow them to completely dry
separately.
and then introduce another solvent. So I suspect.
Oh yeah, do not mix.
There.
Yeah, those don't mix.
Do not mix those.
So what you have going on there is an interaction where those two solvents are acting. They're occupying different parts of the T's table, the T's graph, and they're actually interacting in a way that can strip the inks quite readily from your book. Whereas one or the other by themselves are relatively safe for your inks, but mixing them sort of allows the solvent to have the best properties of both or the worst properties of both in this case, and actually remove the ink. Sorry for the little side chat, but
oh no, it's important.
So one at a time with the Bastine, and in fact, Bastine is usually preserved for removal of tape or adhesives. It can be used to wash a wrap, and so I'm not saying it wouldn't be advised, but it's not going to deacidify as it washes.
Yeah.
So there's trade-offs there. But so typically we're using it for tape removal or adhesive removal. And we're using the aqueous bath for deacidification and cleaning. And generally the aqueous bath is a better way to clean.
Okay, good. There's a
he says not Bastine.
It was Bastine, not Bastine.
Oh,
okay, good. That's
Okay.
much better.
All right,
Yeah,
I'm carrying on for no
question.
reason. All right, I'm carrying on for no reason then. Go ahead.
That's okay. That's fair to show that.
Did you want to talk about this some more, or are we
next
moving
slide?
to the next slide, Larry?
Next slide.
Yeah.
All right. And this is the end.
Woo-hoo!
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So
Hot damn, sir.
yeah, it cleaned up nicely. I mean,
Sure
you can
did.
see how filthy it was, and what a difference a bath makes. It was a Pigpen book. I mean, if you look at the back cover, you see that spine over on the once it's been rewrapped, how dark it is. Well,
Yeah.
that was its original spine where it was for so many years with this busted
Sure.
looking spine, and it's in the papers, just was not going to come out.
Yeah, sure. Well,
Uh,
and that's oxidation. That's some foxing, perhaps. But I mean, one of the things that's striking to me here, Larry, is that although we saw that you lost ink in the aqueous bath, I mean, look at
It
how
still shows. It
intense,
still
look
shows.
how intense the colors are. In fact,
Yeah.
by cleaning them, they look more intense. The blacks look very black. And this is, you know, you don't need to lose your mind if you lose a little ink in an aqueous bath because, what's the name of the character that says we have blood to give? One of Thanos' children, right?
That's one of Thanos' children. I can't remember.
You'll find
her name.
nothing. You know, you're in
Yeah.
Wakanda now. You will find nothing
Yeah.
but dust and blood here. We have blood to give, right? These books have ink to give.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, they're not going to be destroyed because that ink is so thick, so thickly laid on in the Golden Age that for the sake of saving the book, you may lose a little bit of ink, but you deacidify it, you preserve it for the ages. It is, in my opinion, a fine trade-off, but in moderation, right? You still want to lose as little ink as possible.
As little as possible. You want to get that dirt out, that yellowness from the paper. But I think the back cover probably really shows how much it popped getting the dirt out.
Yep.
Yeah. Lots of kudos here. Lots of kudos for your work.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.
We got sexy, wowza, nice. Welcome to the show, Billy Pilgrim. Holy moly from Mike. Beautiful work, Captain. The gray turned to black. The black got more intense, right? It's way brighter. Nice, gorgeous, superstar, clapping. Yeah, absolutely. Great work. Beautiful.
Yeah.
And to your point, this was destined for CGC.
It was. And this book, like I said, it just cried out to be rescued. And, I had to save its life. And I gave it new life.
Now, if you're watching this and you know what work can be done on books, too, then the washing was done expertly here because the tape wasn't the biggest trigger to not get that blue label.
Yeah.
And he deacidified the entire book and got a blue label, which is looking more and more like the more Cap does this, that if you do it right, it's just like some other, it's really just kind of it's not even an advanced dry cleaning technique. It's an advanced technique separate from dry cleaning that can clearly garner fantastic results while keeping a blue label. And I'm not wearing a hat, but my hat's off to you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, I'm always happy to receive that blue label, and that's what I was after. It shows really nice. I think it did take the hit because of the using the mending tape, but I did retain the blue label.
Mm-hmm.
Had I not done the mending tape, it would probably be around the same grade. They just would have notated the split pages.
Yeah. So there's tells when these washes are done incorrectly that will garner you the cover cleaned denotion. Yes. In this instance, cover cleaned, it used to just land you in restored label. I feel like they've shifted a little bit at CGC. Cover cleaned, if it's not done with any other restoration, it's still probably going to land you in a conserved label. But this didn't, because you didn't leave any of those tells. Some of those tells are the texture of the paper, the loss of the sizing or the gloss, the shrinkage of the paper. Any of those tells will land you in a conserved label here. Or again, in the past, it was almost always a restored label. Sometimes I think it still can be a restored label. So again, for those of you out there that want to know how this work is done, we do cover it extensively in the book, but these are the techniques that you can watch on Larry's channel and follow along. And I'm wondering, Larry, if you had done this in series before dropping the result, how many haters commented, "Enjoy your purple label,
Oh,
fucker," and
yeah.
other ridiculous
There's
mouth breather type comments.
oh yeah, there's a lot of haters out there says, oh, you wet clean, you're automatically gonna get a purple label, guaranteed.
Yeah,
And
guaranteed.
that is not the
They're
case.
kind of my brain's still. There's one last thing that I'm curious about. So
Yes, sir.
I've come to terms with, and because I've had any book that I've deacidified that I've submitted has come back with no notation. So to me, I understand like it's something where there's zero tells. But to my understanding, with the cover washes, there is still the variable of potential dimensional change that, to my understanding, is still completely out of our control. So I guess candidly, I'm like, is that not necessarily the case? Is that something where it can happen more, but in baths that are prolonged? So it's always better to err on the side of just shorter baths, almost guarantee no dimensional
I think
changes.
airing in shorter baths and drying under pressure.
For those of you that have read the whole book, which chapter did Phil not read yet?
Oh man. Hey, look,
a lot of it actually is the way that the page is dried. And Larry and I have both done, I think maybe the professor has also done
I think the professor's done it as well.
Careful studies where we have wet cleaned covers, interior pages. We've measured down to the fraction of a millimeter how wide they are before and after, and demonstrated that you can do this aqueous work with literally no shrinkage. And from the literature, the sort of emphasis is on what's known as constrained drying, where you're basically drying under pressure, but drying in a very specific way with successive changes of the blotters so that you remain under pressure during the drying process.
Correct.
And that's how you make sure that you don't have these tells. And this is one of the reasons too why the different techniques that leave the book assembled but do some level of wet cleaning can result in these tells, because then you can't do a constrained drying activity on the cover, for example, because it's
never done it like that.
Yeah, because
you can only
it's impossible.
Wow. I never.
So when you do like the hop, and if you overdo a hop, which again, shout out to the folks who figured those techniques out, great techniques. If you overdo a hop, you can get cover shrinkage, and you're going to get the cover clean denotion, because the drying process itself is done in such a way that you can't practice constrained drying, and you get cover shrinkage. Another thing to watch out for, folks, is a book with previous aqueous exposure or water damage of some sort. Sometimes those fibers were contracted because of the way it dried in the past, and they're sort of locked in place. It's very difficult to undo that shrinkage. It might be just impossible to undo that shrinkage. And so watch out for those. You could say, hey, I did everything right here, and I still have this paper reacted in this way, or I still ended up with this conserved or, again, even restored label. And more often than not, if that happens to somebody who's a competent conservator, it's because of previous water damage in that paper, and it's just something we often can't overcome. There's only so much that can be done with our techniques. The
other thing is, to explain too, is paper has a grain.
Sure.
It depends on who printed it, how it was done. It will shrink dimensionally widthwise or vertically. And if it shrinks widthwise, it's going to grow lengthwise. You're just rearranging the grains, and
or thickness. It can actually
or thickness.
Too, right? Yeah, because it's still the same mass.
Yeah. So I'm looking at some of the questions in here. As to how I dry it, I am using blotters. So the blotters I'm using, they're 1/8 inch thick. They're dimensionally the same, a little bit larger than the wrap. And I'm also drying it by crushing it in a 12-ton press. And I will change out the blotters. And it does not, it basically holds the paper dimensionally, and it dries it very rapidly, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Can I ask? Sorry, I think it's because just to be totally transparent, I did read the book. It's just
I'm just kidding you.
no, I know, but it's more like my brain.
It's a
is
tome,
so,
people. I mean, this is a big.
Read the book. I mean, even someone like me, who it's my job, I sometimes it takes me 5 times reading something in my field. Okay, it makes sense. But so for this, it's Larry, have you ever had a book like this where you did wash the cover and you were like, this will come back universal, but it doesn't, and they do trigger the cover cleaned?
Yeah, I've had that.
Okay, so it is. So it's a.
I have over cleaned covers.
But follow up, would that be because you also did some like blue light treatment too, and then it wasn't necessarily just the
blue light had nothing to do with it. It was ink loss.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Cover cleaned is almost always related to ink loss
or shrinkage.
Shrinkage.
Yep.
So
those are the two main tells. The other tell though is the paper feel. If they can feel that
if you hold that wrap up and it feels like a paper towel or a napkin, there's no sign.
Yeah, exactly.
Or it doesn't have the correct stiffness, the correct rattle.
Well, they call it a snap. The paper's got to have a snap to it.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but it was. I've overcleaned books before.
Yeah, I think we all have.
I think
you find out where the edge is.
You do.
Yeah.
For
I haven't lectured in a very long time, Jim, but thank you.
I think it's just from the perspective of offering the services on the books and like having to operate on guarantees, then I would still, I understand this more, but I still would say then I would say that there's still a technical chance. So that's probably best done if there's already conservation being done on the book. That way there's no surprises as to the label type, because the guarantee is in the label. So it's more of a a book I'll be showing soon, kind of just an added benefit of getting the better page quality without the notation of the cleaning. But,
let's expand upon that. So, we've talked to Matt Nelson at CGC. We're not trying to pull one over on him. In fact, we often tell him what was done. I don't know, Larry, that's your general policy. You probably sent in notes.
People ask me all the time. In fact, it was funny. I just recently did a comic show where I actually had a lot of interaction with the public, and almost all of them were interested. How do you sneak it by CGC? And I said, I don't.
Yeah.
I provide notes on what I do. I'm not trying to
say that again.
I provide notes on everything.
No, sorry, the question and then your answer.
Oh yeah.
No, I actually want you to do it because I want to do the sound effect.
Oh. So
how do you sneak it by CGC?
How do you sneak it by CGC? I don't.
Hey.
Yeah.
It's electronics. No, but I got asked that quite frequently at the show, because and for you those don't know, didn't miss the show last week. I did a live demonstration at a comic convention / show of wet cleaning and tear seals, and it garnered a lot of attention, a lot of questions. People hadn't seen this; they wanted to know how it was done, and I showed it to them. And that was a very common question. How do you is CGC going to catch this? And I said, yes, they will, because I tell them.
We're going to tell them.
Yeah, I don't try to hide anything. I tell them what I do.
Oh,
so
that's just not our MO. We're not hiding stuff here.
No, we don't hide things.
So Matt knows this is happening. CGC knows what you've done, and what they've said is it's universal label, because what you've done is professional. What you've done is to a professional standard with professional materials. and we are happy to certify it universal, knowing full well.
Mhm.
And this is something, again, most people don't understand. We mentioned in our book how this is what I call blue label conservation. And, Matt expounded upon, these techniques are allowed under universal label if they're done properly and professionally. The question is whether or not you have the ability to pull that off. And Phil, to your point, I think so this is obviously Larry's book. He can do what he wants with it. And B, it was an inexpensive experiment. I don't think he showed us what he paid for this, but I can guess. And it wasn't a lot of money. You are in a different position where people will come to you with basically a demand that work be universal. You do not know the history of this paper.
And they also come with an expectation for Phil too.
Exactly.
Sure.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you're in a different position, and not knowing the history of this paper, guarantees can't be made. That's just how it is.
Correct.
Folks. Mm-hmm. So when you do this, you are sort of taking a chance, and but we're taking educated chances, right? We're taking educated risks here. Larry, you use surfactant on this in the first wash.
I always use surfactant in the first wash. The question is do I do it only with the first wash? And I have to be honest and say, not always. It depends on the book. If the book is really shedding a lot of dirt, I will go ahead and give it a second surfactant wash before rinsing it out.
Yeah.
And
we'll say, the position we took in the book, which is from the conservation literature, is that you should not necessarily use surfactants on all items all the time. We recommend that you not start necessarily with the surfactant. However, if you have the experience like Larry does, where you know that it's already required for this book, obviously you can start with it. Surfactants can speed up that ink loss, and so they're not necessarily in a full conservative conservation. They're not recommended for every book, and I don't use them for every book. I save them typically for things that are either heavily soiled, like this one was, or stained. And if I'm doing kind of more of a run-of-the-mill where I'm really just trying to accomplish deacidification and the paper does not need extreme washing, I will just do the calcium hydroxide bath. Because remember, folks, water itself is going to do quite a bit of cleaning. And you don't necessarily need surfactants to. Most of the things we're trying to remove from this old paper actually are water soluble. They are chemicals that are the result of the breakdown of cellulose, hemicellulose, lignin, etc., through either the oxidative process or hydrolysis that is catalyzed by acidity. And those materials are readily water soluble. So we don't necessarily need a surfactant, but those are the parameters. Practice with them. Jason wants to know where you get the blotters, Larry.
I think I got them from Talus.
Yes, Talus.
Yeah.
If you don't, I was just gonna say blotters work, or not blotters. Felt works, in my opinion, just as well as the blotters, but it's one of those things where there's a few different answers to use, and they both can be effective. And
felt. Well, traditionally felt was always used. So let's talk about blotters for a second. Blotters are expensive. Don't get me wrong. And I think I ordered. They come in large sheets, and I trim them down to fit inside my press. And they're just slightly bigger than the wrap of a comic. This is
your, I'm sorry to interrupt, but this is your copy press, not your heated press.
No, I don't have a copy press like you fancy boys. I had to make my own.
Sorry, okay.
I have a 12-ton hydraulic press, which you can go buy at Harbor Freight for a hell of a lot less than trying to find a 100-year-old copy press.
True.
And it puts more pressure on the book anyway.
Yeah, so but anyway, I'm sorry, to be clear, it's a high pressure press like our copy presses.
Yes.
He's not talking about your t-shirt press.
No,
Just to be
do
clear.
not.
Yep.
The t-shirt press does not have enough clamping force to really retain the page size. Now, did I do that beforehand? Yes, that's what I was using. The other thing is temperature. If you're doing it in the heat press, don't do it more than 130 degrees, and change your paper towels or whatever
And for
you use
short periods, yeah.
for
And
plotters
plotters.
often. So with the blotters, like I said, I trimmed them down. I was able to get a stack of blotters, and I'll go out and I'll squish it down 5 minutes. Then first set of blotters, change them out. I'll leave the second set on for an hour. Third set will be the final set, and I'll be honest. The page, and Dr. Paul's found this himself, is the page is completely dry within maybe 4 hours, and it's ready to be manipulated, done whatever. It's
If you
completely
really crank the hell out of that copy press and you change your blotters every 10 minutes, you can dry a sheet in 1 hour.
Yeah, I've done that.
I-
Especially if you're
I've done
using
it too.
paper towels to help absorb a lot of the excess moisture in between switching the blotters out. If you're using like Hollytex or Rime as your sandwich, so
Yeah.
you know.
Well, my thing was I was going through the blotters, because you guys know I do kind of a high production rate on stuff,
Yeah.
and I it was drying the blotters was presenting a problem because
That
they
too.
they had to air dry. Well, I discovered that in my dryer I've got a sweater rack, which just fits
Mhm.
right inside, and I lay all my blotters down on top
Oh,
of it,
awesome.
and a huge stack of blotters, and turn it on for half an hour, and all my blotters are dry again. And you use these blotters over and over and over. You try to keep them clean. I was talking to Kenny Sanderson. He has blotters that are 20 years old that he's still using. I
Mm.
mean,
I was going to
so
ask you about this. Yeah. They
so
get
so when
stained. Yeah.
yeah, they get stained, but they still absorb.
They
So the
absorb.
the thing is yes, the blotters are expensive, but as an investment in the long term, they're cheap.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they do.
And
You're going to go
for
through a
those of
hell of a
you-
lot more paper towels.
Yeah, and for those of you that might
Exactly.
even reusing them, for those of you that might be concerned about like using stained blotters, because of the way the the capillary action works and pulling water out of the page and into the blotter, any stain in the blotter really effectively can't go into the paper, so you're safe there, right?
Yeah.
Couple other questions.
Yeah, I'm trying to. They've got a bunch of questions here.
JCP, we say blotters. We're talking about blotter paper is actually cotton paper and it's reusable. But I think the blotters we're talking about, we tend to call them blotters when they're thicker than like a sheet of paper. So what
Yeah.
you're talking about is
Yeah,
more like
what Phil's got right there.
I use these as my trays. Like I don't use these to actually blot anything. I use these to keep a clean surface on every book I'm working on, and I'll have like 6 books on these separate, like on all my, like I like using these just as a
sure.
as a tray.
But that is about an 1/8 inch, and yes, I did say 1/8 inch thick blotters.
Don, I dry mine by squeezing the bejeebies out of it in the copy press and then changing the blotter out like every 10 to 15 minutes. And
I
like
second that motion.
it is dry. It is effectively dry in about an hour. I leave it in longer because I can, because I'm a hobbyist. If I were a professional, I might move it on after an hour to something else. But the high pressure, well, it's called dewatering in the paper world, but that's how you dry.
There's a
pressure in the blotters.
There's a caveat on that, and I don't want you to make a mistake when you're redoing this. Leave the Hollytex on both sides of your work.
Oh yeah.
Do not just put a blotter onto your work. You will regret that in a huge way. So, Ben Stewart, is your drawing technique in a show? No, I don't have anything in the show, but I can make one.
Yeah. Space Baby, welcome. Says confused about fixing tanning versus staining versus dirty plus rust migration around staples. That's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
We talk about all these things regularly. Tanning and staining are different things.
They're different things
that often can be fixed by the same kinds of approaches, though. These aqueous baths will typically improve both. More info in the book, and without jumping into that topic deep, I think that's what we can say today. Use towels, use Bristol paper, 11 by 17 works awesome. Bristol is still...
Bristol, yeah.
It's good paper, but it's sized, and so it is not going to soak up water in the same way that a true blotter will. But that said, we got Salesboy Comics here. Salesboy Comics is mastered the Blue Label washed interior books, and so go check out his channel. Actually, we're going to have him on here soon to talk about the way that he's been doing kind of like swab washing without disassembly often of many comic books, lightening them, deacidifying them, and keeping them all universal label and keeping them all assembled. So hope to get that together soon. I don't know if we'll get it in before the end of the year because it is getting short now, but
well, let's wrap up the slides because we're hitting an hour and a half now.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
there you go.
Go back.
There you go.
So here's the notes on it. Multiple crease on the cover breaks, chips out of the left front, tape on the centerfold. That's the archival tape we talked about. Moderate foxing on the interior. That is basically because because of the ink loss, I really couldn't give a proper bath to these books to pull the foxing out.
Sure.
And so the treatment just wasn't there. Okay, next slide. This was an eBay purchase. So, I think Dr. Paul has. I think he's got palsy, and he keeps tapping the thing.
No,
me and Paul
and I are both doing it.
Oh, you're both doing it. Okay.
Yeah.
So once I did it just before him, another time he did it just before me.
All right. So it was purchased for $102.50.
Nice.
So I felt it was a good deal. Basically, like I said, it's an ugly book. Nobody wanted it.
Yeah.
And I think the guy wanted 100 for it, and somebody else bid on it, and I just posted it at a higher price, and I got it. So next slide, just one of you.
I'm gonna do it. I got it. Phil, hands
All
up.
right. Was there equity created in this book? Yes. Next slide. So the only comparable was a 3.0. The sold in Comic Connect for 302.
Nice.
I sold this 2 weeks ago to A1 Comics, my LCS, the owner Brian Peets. He personally bought this for $350, which is what I had it advertised for.
Very nice.
He bought 3 books from me, and it immediately went up on the A1 website for sale.
Nice.
Everyone
Congratulations. Yeah, great book.
It came out great. And if you want to watch the video, go to the next slide. There it is. So
definitely go check it out.
Yeah, the whole process is there. It's a 2-part show. I didn't show the CGC results, but you got to see it here. There's it came back at a 3.5.
Can I just ask, my only question I have is the tape that you added was just to bump up the technical grade, more or less, or help recast the cover?
No, I wasn't going after the technical grade. I was trying to keep the Blue Label.
To Phil's point, you could have just sent it in with the page ripped.
I could have sent it in with the page ripped, but it's a roll of the dice of what they're going to give you. It would have been I'm guessing it would have been a 3, maybe a 3.5, and with the tape they came back at a 3.5. So
yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Fair enough.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
It's been a while, but it was worth it.
Great job.
Yeah.
Great job,
and I think you have some more coming up.
I do. I've got. It's been a while since I was able to start working on books, which I know Dr. Paul is going to work on books soon. We hope. We haven't seen him present anything lately.
I've been working,
but yes, I have several books in the hopper. And like I said, I'm working on those Air Fighters that I picked up at the summit,
yeah.
which is great.
Hillman book.
Yeah, you guys got to see it up close, along with some of the
Yeah.
other projects I picked up.
This has come so long from when I didn't know you, Captain, and I saw that one video that you put up on that Ghost Rider comics, and I was like, "Who's this guy? Who does he think?" And I was like, "I had no idea." You're like, "Just
Who is
Bobby,
this? Who is this guy?
who
I
has
think
no
maniac
who's
was the term.
just trying to adhere to the rules and like all I can say now, seeing a book like that is clearly there's been at least maybe paradigm shift is not the correct term, but it's
Yeah.
so crazy to me that 25, 30 years ago when Bill Surreal was doing his own and he was the only one
Yeah.
really teaching work, and all the work done on the books was to deceive and make the book look better. Basically, a lot of the color touch and all that stuff was guaranteed purple label work. And how far we've come now as a community and people working on books, where like it's the exact opposite. What's being done is done to preserve and de-acidify the book, and if done correctly, it's coming back best case possible. That's just that's so cool that it went from this to this.
Thanks to Steve for recognizing this, right?
Yeah, well,
they've been leaders here,
Yeah.
among
Before
other
that-
people. But I mean, if it's not for them,
Before that,
And then-
Ghost Rider 2, I mean, it was kind of unheard of to get a blue label back.
I'm sure
And-
people were doing it, but it was very
and
fringe.
I got a lot of hate over it.
Yeah.
I got
Very-
accusations.
I was
of flipping
I was
the
an early
book.
hater. I was
Yeah.
like, who is this guy?
Yeah, I got a lot of hate on that book.
the people that were doing it weren't bragging about it because they were trying to keep their edge.
Exactly.
Doing it
Exactly.
professionally.
No, that's
And
why
then
I
there were a
think-
lot of haters that just don't understand. And it seems to me the less you know, the more likely you are to be loud on the internet. So
Yeah.
disassembling and reassembling, especially if you watch this channel or if you've done it before, you know that is a huge barrier to entry to be doing full deacidification and doing what you did. But clearly, anyone that has any interest in doing this long term, that likes working on books, should have seen this segment or previous one and been like, oh my god, I can like cleaning and pressing is that's just one tool in your G bag. This is an
there's
advanced
so many
tool in your
tools.
G bag.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, people ask me, like, will you work on books? And I said no. I send them to Phil. I send them to Kenny.
Passionate guy.
Yeah.
I will work on books. I'll work on my own.
my answer to them is I don't work on them for other people, but I will teach you how to do it yourself, which is basically what I do through my videos. They're instructional videos.
Yeah.
So you can cook too, ratatouille. I am self-taught, people. My inspiration was actually Dr. Paul when his America's Best book. That one, I looked at that and went, I could do that.
Yeah.
And
That's a Schomburg cover.
it is, and through the process of learning, yes, I have made mistakes. We all have. That's just part of the process. But I've gotten it down to where my confidence level on, especially now with leaf casting. I didn't start leaf casting maybe a year ago, guys. I think is about it.
Yeah.
And now I'm getting pretty good at it. So
I'd say so.
it's just one of those things you got to keep practicing.
Absolutely. Well, I hope everybody found this instructional. I think we went a bit longer than we liked
we did,
generally,
yeah.
but that was because we had so much interaction in the chat, and we had a lot of questions, and that was super fun. And so, welcome. Thank you to everybody.
Yeah, everybody
joined us and stuck with us and interacted. Had a great time. Thank you both to my co-host here and Larry for showing off your great work. And
thank you.
Let's also thank one more time our sponsors for this episode: AG, Salesboy Comics, Collecting Chaos, Don Carter, Vulu, and You Pluck My Last Nerve. Thanks also to our super chatters this episode. They'll be sponsoring next episode. Those are Salesboy Comics, Jason the Archivist Adrift, Gorilla Monkey 3K, and Collecting Chaos. Thank you all so much.
Thank you,
Have
guys.
a wonderful holiday. This is the time of year to be thankful and to have appreciation for all of the wonderful things that we enjoy. We're going to be talking about that. We're going to do a year-end wrap-up show where it's mostly, for me, it's like my gratitude show. So it won't necessarily coincide with Thanksgiving, but I hope everybody has a wonderful holiday. I hope you have a great time with your friends and family, and we will see you next week. Until then, take care of one another.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Thanks for tuning in live or